Welcome friends! Today's video will be quite short, and the topic is how to improve Minecraft's performance. Before I begin, I would like to set some expectations straight. This guide is aimed at Windows users, though pretty much all of it works in any operating system. I will be talking specifically about Minecraft Java Edition. Moreover, I will concentrate on the version 1.12.2 due to its popularity in the modding community. As my base example for a mod pack, I will be using Enigmatica 2 Expert Extended, an awesome pack by Krutoy242. And finally, the focus of this particular video and the main performance boost will come from updating Java version that runs the game. If this is something you are interested in, stick around and you will learn how to make your gameplay much smoother. A little while ago, a comment by Yash Raut on my previous video has triggered me to look into the performance of my pack and how can I improve it. I was intrigued by this Java version update. Here is my single-player game, with one of the more graphically demanding scenes of my base. I can open my debug screen, and in the corner you can see my FPS numbers. First one is my average FPS, and the second number shows how low it can dip at times. Currently, the FPS is in the 40s, but it can drop as low as 15. And in the other corner, you can see my setup information, and my Java is at the version 8. Now take a look at this. It is the same scene in the same single-player world, but if we look at the left corner, we see much better FPS performance. The average is in the low 70s, and the dips come down to 40 on a bad tick. This is not exactly apple-to-apple comparison, as several things have changed, but the main thing different is this new scene is my Java version, which is version 22. Besides the significant FPS improvements, when switching from Java 8 to Java 22, we can also see a decrease in overall loading times for the pack as a whole. Every time you start the pack, you can see the average loading time at the bottom left, and for me it went down from 5 minutes 30 seconds on Java 8 to about 3 minutes and 20 seconds on Java 22. I'm not trying to draw your attention or maximize these precise numbers for FPS and loading times, but we do get quite a boost in performance. Now let's take a look at the steps that could get you there. The discussion of possibility for new Java version to run Enigmatica 2 Expert Extended started in March 2024 when Krutoy242 created a thread in Tips and Tricks channel in the pack Discord. I have a link in the description in case you want a shortcut. Quite soon, a user by the name Thermonuclear Minecraft Engineer came to the scene and contributed lots of his Minecraft knowledge to the cause. I have reached out to him, and it turned out that he has stuck with Minecraft pretty much from the game's humble beginnings, and his knowledge of coding and modded Minecraft in particular was pretty valuable in this case. He has created this guide, which is very easy to follow and will help you get working pack based on Java version 22. I wanted to thank Thermonuclear Minecraft Engineer for the guide and the explanations of the importance and reasons behind every step of the guide. Before looking at the guide in detail, I need to put a disclaimer here. First, this is pretty experimental setup. Things may break based on your specific hardware and system, but with proper backups, you will not lose anything. Second, if things break, the solutions might not be readily available. Best place to ask will be in the Discord thread that I mentioned. You can also ask in the comments here, but if it is something other than surface issues, I might not be able to have an answer right away for you. And thirdly, and most importantly, before watching further, check if there is an update in the description. Things might have changed since the video was released. With that out of the way, let's begin. Here are the steps again. We are not just going to walk through the steps mindlessly, but we will dive a little deeper into the why behind each one. There is an old saying, give someone a fish and you will feed them for a day. Teach someone to fish and you will feed them for a lifetime. This approach might take a little bit longer, but I believe it's worth it. I will try to cover most possible cases that people might have interest in. If you already have Prism and have played the pack before, skip to step 4. Otherwise, continue watching. Follow the guide, and in the end, I will explain how to move your saves from other launchers if you do not wish to start playing a new world from scratch. Step 1. We will need to install Prism Launcher in the case you are using some other launcher. For example, I have been previously using CurseForge. We will need to go straight to the download page on prismlauncher.org. There you can pick a version for yourself. I personally prefer the portable version. Once you downloaded it, all you need to do is to extract the zip file and then rename and move the folder somewhere convenient. There are some advantages of using Prism Launcher, especially compared to something like CurseForge. Prism Launcher is open open source, has no ads, is very resource efficient while providing integrated mod browsing and extensive customization options, which we are going to need very soon. When we run prismlauncher.exe for the first time, we will be greeted by a menu for language selection. Next, Prism will ask you about your Java location. Since we are talking about Minecraft version 1.12.2, you should have Java 8 at this point and should point Prism to that version executable. Finally, you can go through Theme selection and click Finish, and Prism is ready to use. Step 2. Let's get the latest version of Enigmatica 2 Expert Extended Pack by clicking Add Instance button, selecting CurseForge tab, and then selecting our pack from the list. Once the pack is found, we click OK, and the latest version of the pack will get installed by default. At some point during the installation, you will bump into a mod that cannot be downloaded automatically. All you have to do there is to click the link to the mod on curseforge.com website, and in a moment, download will start automatically for you. Once the mod is downloaded, click OK and wait for the installation to finish, repeating the process for any other mods if needed. That's it, you now have a brand new pack instance in Prism. Step 3. Now we need to run our new instance at least once, and specifically we need to do this in Java version 8. The reason behind this is that Enigmatica 2 Expert Extended relies on Bansoku, which is translated from Japanese as Band-Aid. This is a mod patcher that can modify other mods automatically, but it can do so only in Java version 8. So before we even try to migrate to new Java version 22, we need to allow Bansoku to do its thing to our downloaded mods once. Before we launch our pack, we need to do a couple things. First, let's edit our instance from the panel on the right and click Settings. Here, in Java tab, we can override the global settings. In this case, we will explicitly point to Java version 8 installation, and then in the memory allocation settings, we can set minimum and maximum values. I personally set both values to be around 6 GB. How did I come up with this number? Here I would like to pause a little bit for an important but a bit counterintuitive concept about memory allocation for Minecraft modpack. Counterintuitive because more is not better in this case. What you need to know is Minecraft does need some RAM to store the data, but when Java cleans that allocated memory from old unused data, which is called garbage collection, two things will happen. First, running housekeeping on large amounts of RAM will strain your CPU. Second, cleaning larger allocated RAM is simply longer, so you will see your game freezing for longer periods when this happens. And third thing, which is the most paradoxical, allocating too much RAM can lead to less frequent garbage collection that might lead to memory fragmentation and eventually even out-of-memory errors when the system cannot find or organize contiguous memory chunk in time. To better understand this, consider the following analogy. You are working alone, managing loading goods at one end and unloading at the other of a small storage room versus a large industrial warehouse. If the flow of goods is the same in both cases, and small storage room is able to manage the item influx, smaller space will definitely work better for you. Simply running around in a huge warehouse will waste lots of your time. Eventually, things can get lost in the large space. It can become harder to locate things, and items will take longer to retrieve. This analogy is far from all-encompassing explanation of how memory allocation works for different volumes, but the simple takeaway is this: allocate the lowest amount of memory that allows you to run given Minecraft modpack smoothly. This depends on modpack size and your processing power, and for Enigmatica 2 Expert Extended, it will typically be in a range from 6 to 8 GB. Increase it if you do not have enough memory to load the pack, but decrease it if your game freezes for visibly long time periods or has unexplained memory-related crashes. With Java settings figured out, we are ready to launch. When we click the launch button though, you will be greeted with the message that you should log in into your Microsoft account. You can click yes there, click Add Microsoft, and then follow the prompts to link Microsoft account to your Prism launcher. As soon as that happens, Prism will immediately start downloading the game, and when that is done, we'll start it. At this point, game will ask you if you would like to use Optifine. I say next and continue with Optifine install and then the game launch. When the game successfully starts, you can simply quit the game as all necessary modifications were made behind the scenes. Step 4. Now we can start working toward the Java 22 version, and the first thing to do is to download it. You can search for it or use the link in the guide. In both cases, it will bring us to the azul.com. Azul is a reputable company that provides builds for OpenJDK, which is the open source version of Java. Once you get to the download page, scroll down and download the latest version of Java Runtime Environment build for version 22. Once downloaded, simply unzip the contents somewhere convenient and you are done. Step 5. It is time to make Minecraft compatible with new Java version using CleanroomMMC. To understand how this works, you need to know about the importance of Minecraft launcher. Minecraft is more than just a single executable file. It consists of various components like libraries, assets, and game files. Launchers handle downloading, updating, and organizing these components, ensuring everything is in the correct place for the game to run. Official Minecraft launcher does just that, and in addition, it handles player login and authentication with Mojang servers, game version selection, some rudimentary mod support, but most importantly, it selects Java runtime environment to run the game. And right there comes the problem. Minecraft 1.12.2 was released in 2017, when Java 8 was dominant version, and this is what official launcher forces upon us. Thankfully, a group of developers decided to solve this issue by starting Cleanroom. Cleanroom is an ambitious project aiming to create a clean, modern, and performant Minecraft launcher for version 1.12. It's not just any other launcher though. It's a complete re-implementation of Minecraft launcher logic built from scratch without using any of the proprietary code. Unlike the official launcher, Cleanroom can directly invoke and manage any Java runtime environment you have installed on your system. While Cleanroom is powerful, it's primarily a backend. This is where Prism launcher comes in. You have already learned that in order to run a modpack in Prism, you need to create a new instance. Well, Cleanroom team has created an instance for us that we can run in Prism, and they packed all their cool capabilities into Prism's user-friendly interface. This will allow us to leverage the power of Cleanroom without needing to interact with its complexities directly. In order to work with Prism, we need CleanroomMMC. MMC in this case stands for MultiMC, a predecessor of Prism and several other similar launchers in which the concept of instance-based approach first appeared. To get the latest CleanroomMMC instance, you should go to Cleanroom GitHub, go to Releases, or follow the link in the description. Once there, scroll down to the content of the latest release and only download the zip file with CleanroomMMC instance. Step 6. Let's install our new instance in Prism. To do this, select Add Instance, click Import, and hit Browse to get newly downloaded CleanroomMMC instance. We can also name our new instance, and I will name it Java 22 for clarity. Once the instance is created, we can also change the instance icon. If you click Open Folder button, you will see where icons live. I will download an icon Krutoy242 made in the Java migration thread and use that for our new instance by right-clicking on the instance, selecting Change Icon, and then selecting the one we want. Steps 7, 8, and 9 from the guide are related to the Java settings of this new instance. We can select Edit, then Settings, and in the Java tab we will first enable the checkbox for the custom Java installation and then select our Java version 22. In the memory settings, I will select around 6 GB as I explained before, and finally in Java argument section I will put these two flags. The first one, UseZGC, enables zgarbage collector, which is relatively new feature absent in Java 8. zgarbage collector can provide some speed benefits, meaning shorter pause times compared to the regular garbage collectors, but has slightly higher GPU usage and larger memory footprint. The second flag enables generational mode of zgarbage collector, which is even newer and more experimental feature and can further boost garbage collection performance. You can play the game with these options enabled and disabled and make your own judgment if you see any performance improvements with this argument. Step 10. We have everything in place to run Minecraft on the new Java version for the first time. When we launch the new instance, we can start an unmodded Minecraft 1.12.2. Essentially, this step is necessary to initialize our instance before we move our modpack files into it. Step 11. Now that Minecraft 1.12.2 instance is working on Java 22, how do we install Enigmatica 2 Expert Extended into this instance? In order to do this, we can use pretty interesting concept of junctions. Essentially, junctions, in terms of a file system, are shortcuts or links that different applications can use to get to the same directory. This concept might be hard to explain to some random general audience, but I hope it will be quite easy to grasp for a seasoned modded Minecraft player that are watching this video. Imagine that computer on the right is Enigmatica 2 Expert Extended instance we installed on Java 8, and it is fully working. The chest next to it represents the folder that contains all the files necessary to run the pack. The computer on the left is fresh vanilla 1.12.2 instance that runs on Java 22, and the chest next to it represents a modpack folder that is currently empty. In principle, with some minor exceptions that we will discuss later, all mods, assets, configs, and saves are same irrespective of the Java version we use to run the game. And so in order to run our modpack on Java 22, we would need to go to the folder of the Java 8 version, copy the files, and paste them into the chest of Java 22 game version, and we would be ready to go. If we play a little on Java 22 and need to come back to Java 8 for some reason, we would take our saves from Java 22, move them back to Java 8 and continue there. We could move files back and forth this way, and this is fine, but there is a smarter approach involving junctions. You see, using junctions in your file system would work in the same fashion as putting two ender chests to store our pack files and saves. Now, we can play on Java 22 and Java 8 instances in any order whenever we want, and both instances would modify same exact files, similar to how two ender chests store same exact items. Now that I hopefully was able to convey the concept of junctions, how do we set them up in Windows? To begin with, let's figure out our folder prep. In Prism Launcher, we can click Folder button and select Instances, which will open up our instance location. In there, of course, we will have our regular Java 8 version, and if we go inside, we will see a folder named Minecraft, which contains our modpack. This will be our target for the junction. If we go back to Instances and open up the vanilla version we set for Java 22, we will see a slightly different folder called Minecraft with a dot in front of the name. As of now, this folder simply contains a template of a pack, but it will be our junction folder in the future. So in order to clear up a space for it, let's delete it. I will now show you two quick ways to make the junction. First, of course, is through the use of the command line. Let's make a batch file in the instance folder by making a text file and renaming it to something like junction.bat. If you do not see file name extensions, remember to enable them in the View tab of the folder. Once you have the batch file, right-click on it and edit it in a text editor. We will type a very simple command. mklink instructs Windows to create a symbiotic link. /j further specifies that we are going to be making junctions, as there are several link types. Next, there should be a junction location where we want to place our new link, and finally, the target or the folder we would like our link to point to. As you might have guessed, I will put the Minecraft folder containing Enigmatica 2 Expert Extended pack files as our target. And in the junction link, I will use our .minecraft folder of the vanilla instance running on Java 22, which we deleted previously. Do not forget that we need to use double quotes for all paths that contain spaces or special characters in Windows commands. If you want to see the results of your hard labor, you can add a pause command on the next line and save the batch file. All we need to do now is to right-click on the junction.bat and run it as administrator. As you can see in the output, the link was successfully created. For the people who like more visual approach for modifications, I will quickly cover a second option for junctions, link shell extension. If you follow the link in the original guide from Thermonuclear Minecraft Engineer or this video description, you will get to the application webpage. Simply download this utility and install it. After the installation, you should be able to right-click our target folder for Java 8 instance and see a new entry, pick link source. Next, we can go into our Java 22 instance, right-click anywhere, and pick drop as junction. All that is left is to rename our new junction .minecraft, and we are ready to go. Both methods work exactly the same behind the scenes. You can choose whichever method you prefer. If we go check out our Java 22 instance, we should see the junction working, letting us use all the necessary files from other instance. Step 12. If you remember, I mentioned that there are exceptions to the vast majority of mods that work on both Java versions. Two specific exceptions we need to discuss are mixinbooter and configanytime, which are tools that enhance control over the Minecraft mods. Both of them need to be disabled when we run the pack on Java 22, and if subsequently we want to switch back to Java 8, we need to enable them again. Of course, just like in a Minecraft game, we would want this process to be automated, and the following bat file would do it for us. Here, we simply go to the mods folder in the instance directory, find the two mods and change their extensions to disabled, but only if they are not disabled already. However, the awesome news for you are we do not even have to make a bat file. And I want to thank Rutoy242 again, as he pointed out to me that Prism has an option to run a custom command. It could be found if you edit the instance, go to settings and then commands tab. Here, we enable the checkbox for custom commands and need to edit a prelaunch command. The batch file that disables the two mods can be rewritten in the form of a single line. Here it is, and it can also be found in the description of this video. We simply copy this line into the prelaunch command here for Java 22, and then we can switch to Java 8 instance and do the same exact thing for Java 8 version, except there the command enables the two mods back. Note that it has to point to a different folder name since we have junction in place. With this in place, incompatible mods will get disabled or enabled depending on the circumstances without us keeping tabs on them. We can check if everything is working by looking into the mods folder, running the pack and looking over the mod names. You should see the two mods correctly disabled. Step 13. This step is optional, but is highly recommended. You can add entity calling, which improves performance by reducing the number of entities that need to be processed, and Northroom, which changes Minecraft's chunk rendering engine to increase performance. Both mods have drawbacks, which is why this step is optional. For example, Northroom is incompatible with little tiles. However, these details are outside of the scope of this tutorial. Here, I simply will show you how to install these two mods as well as dependencies. Prism Launcher has an internal way of getting mods off the internet. You can edit your pack, select mods and click download button. Here we will select entity calling from modrinth and stage that for downloading. Then we will search CurseForge for Northroom and stage that as well. Now we can click review, and here besides the two mods we staged, we see three more which are dependencies for Northroom. If you recall from the previous step, we already have mixinbooter, so we should disable the download for that. The rest are needed, so we can click OK. Step 14. This step was not in the original guide, but here I would like to explain how to move your pre-existing saves into these newly created instances and also update the pack. First, a matter of saves. The frequently asked questions section of the pack's GitHub page contains a list of the files and folders that contain your worlds, game configs, and maps. These do not have screenshots you have taken or mod config files you have modified. It doesn't matter which launcher you have used. I, for example, was using CurseForge. You can simply grab these files and folders and move them to any of the two new instances, it doesn't matter which one, since we have junction in place. You can overwrite the files when prompted. Now let's talk about the updates. If you remember, in step 3, we have discussed Bansoku mode and the fact that before running Java 22 version, we need to run Java 8 version at least once. Because of this and how we set up our junction, in order to update the pack, we need to go into our regular Java 8 instance, click Edit, and then open CurseForge tab. We can see that we are currently on version 1.41.0 and the most current version is 1.43.0. If we want to switch to the newest version, we select that, click Update Pack button and wait for the pack to be updated. Sometimes mods cannot be downloaded by the launcher directly, in which case download the mod to your downloads folder manually and continue the update until it finishes. Now we need to launch the pack at least once on Java 8, and here you might see the message similar to this one appear in Minecraft game. Without going into much detail, this problem is caused by some inconsistencies in the update process, which lead to the creation of mod duplicates, and the game does not know which version of the mod to load. This never happens if you install new instance from scratch, but might happen if you update an existing instance. The message will be unique for you, so I cannot give you exact instructions here, but let me provide a general workflow explaining how you can deal with these duplicates. If we scan through this particular message, we can isolate 4 mods that are having issues. We can then go to the releases page of the modpack GitHub and track these particular mods in the versions versions newer than the one we had before the update. We will see advanced rocketry, libopes, and quark in the removed and updated mod section for the version 1.42.0, but most importantly, we will know which versions of these mods are outdated now. Same with Twilight Forest for 1.43.0. Now, knowing the outdated versions of the mods, we can go to the mods folder for our instance and remove them. If you did this all correctly, the pack should now start. If the pack still doesn't start, you can always try to install the new instance following steps 2 and 3 of the guide, create a new junction following step 11, set prelaunch commands following step 12, and copy the saves from the old instance following step 14. Congratulations! If you followed my tutorial, you should have the most cutting-edge experience there is at this point with Enigmatica 2 Expert Extended for updated Java version. After all, this pack is all about tinkering with the tools at your disposal, and I believe players of this pack should be the right audience to give it a whirl. You have nothing to lose, and who knows, perhaps your feedback will push the boundaries of what's possible. This video turned out to be more elaborate than I initially expected. With all the research and editing, it took me more than 60 hours to make, which makes this my biggest project yet. But I felt that the topic was important enough to make things right. I really hope that you like it and will at least stop by the comments to tell me what you think. Now that this project is finished, it is time to me to go back to my world and continue my series. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Same place.